And with schools closed during the COVID-19 outbreak and distance learning now the new norm, educators are having to get creative in how they provide these learning opportunities. And parents are important partners in this process. Auburn University education professor Martina McGee says it's important parents take their role very seriously, especially during uncertain times.
One thing I definitely want parents just to be conscious of is that children perceive the stress of their parents. And so being very conscious of the amount of media that you're consuming as a parent and the impact it has on you, on how you interact with your child, and how that stress lives in our bodies. And just know that oftentimes we do transfer that to our children. And so just being very conscious of that, while that's not directly related to the learning, just knowing that that impacts our children, that they will then carry that with them after this is over. And so just understanding how our emotions impact the child as well.
The professor also advises that parents tailor into increments the teaching, 20 minutes of learning, then a 20-minute break, depending upon the age of the child.